You guys should use your practice time wisely, target your weaknesses, work on the things that give you a lot of trouble, face your fears, and face your responsibilities.
All right, here's the deal. I suck at drawing faces. I used to draw when I was little. I talk about it in my previous video over here. And all I did was draw animals. Now that I'm an adult and I'm learning how to draw again, I don't have even the basic foundations of drawing people. And I suck at drawing them, and I want to get better at drawing people. So I'm just gonna draw a bunch of people and ramble about. So pull a chair, watch me as I draw some ugly faces, and in exchange, I'll talk to you about some things that are on my mind and ramble on. All right, let's draw some people. If you don't know me, I'm a filmmaker and a writer, and I'm currently working on a novel with an accompanying short film. It's my biggest creative endeavor yet, and as excited as I am for it, I'm really nervous about it. Again, being the largest undertaking that I've gone through, I am a little worried that I won't be able to accomplish it. This time of project development transitioning into pre-production is always a really nerve-wracking time. You're not too sure if the project you've developed is way too ambitious in scope for you, but you're also a bit confident that it is possible with the right effort and strategy. It's just a really risky thing to go into a film production, especially as an independent filmmaker. You don't have a lot of resources, you don't have a lot of time, and if something falls through that is foundational, everything falls through. There's so many moving parts when it comes to producing a film of any kind. It requires a lot of forethought, and even with all of that forethought, things just kind of happen. Murphy's Law basically says that if anything can happen, it will happen. And it's a law that is spoken a lot about when it comes to film production, especially in the independent film space. And that's one of the things that you have to be weary of. You have to be ready for. You have to have every single possible contingency planned for. And even then, you won't have enough planned. It's in these moments of nervousness and fear that I have to remember that I've made other stuff. In the past, I've made short films, I've made music videos, I've made documentary series in the past. And at the time, they were really ambitious for me. They were almost just barely out of reach. And I had this same amount of nervousness when it came to going into production. And I think there's only so much planning, so much prep, so much, okay, this is what we have, this is what we can do. Let's see if we can figure that out, until you just have to go. It reminds me of that quote in Spider-Verse, when he says, "It's all it is, Miles, it's a leap of faith." You can't quite ensure everything's gonna work out perfectly. Sometimes you just have to make that jump into production. And I'm just here trying to remind myself that, yeah, I have to take that leap of faith. The last thing that I produced was a short film, and we were filming over 3 years ago now at this point. It's been a while since I've had to ready up for a production, and I feel that I have forgotten how to accustom myself to the stress and uncertainty of it all. Now, I have a great team with me. I'm working with a buddy of mine that I met while working in Georgia, who's going to be my assistant director, and he's been co-writing the short film with me to leave me time to continue working on writing the novel. So that's been really great. I have an old friend of mine who is going to be producing, two old friends of mine who are going to be executive producing the project, and have just been great creative collaborators throughout the years. And now to work with them in this sense is going to be a lot of fun. And for that, I'm really grateful, having people behind my back helping me bring this idea to life. It does alleviate some of that stress, and I have to remember to rely on these people when it comes to making my projects. You can't make a film alone. You need people. You need a team. There's this quote, something, I forget exactly how it goes, but I'll paraphrase. If you want to paint, you need paintbrush and canvas. If you want to write poetry, a pen and paper. And if you want to make a movie, you need an army. And as a director, I think it's important to remember that you do have an army. Maybe it's not a crew of 100 people on a union set in Georgia or Hollywood, but even if it's a little under a dozen people who are scrapping things together to make things work, that's what you have to rely on. And you have to rely on them, and they will not disappoint you if you empower them to do their jobs well. One of the other assurances is that I've had a lot more time to develop this story. One, this short film is based off of an original novel of mine that I'm currently working on. And two, I've been developing this story for the better part of 2 years. With my previous projects, I've had no more than, say, a month of developing an idea, writing it out, doing the pre-production, and then shooting. And I think the biggest detriment to my older projects is that I didn't really have a strong enough story that could stand on its own 2 feet. The biggest problem that I had as a younger filmmaker, and I think a lot of young filmmakers or just up and coming filmmakers go through, is that they are so excited about the art of the camera, the art of the image, the art of the edit and the cut and the transitions and the Peter McKinnon B-roll stuff, but they struggle to figure out what to make a movie about. They struggle to figure out what to make their film about. And when they want to actually develop the idea, they just rush through it because they just want to grab the camera and go. But over the past few years, I've really focused on developing my stories and making sure that my stories are really well thought through. If I don't have something that can stand on its own 2 feet as a screenplay, then I'm not going to bother picking up the camera. I put down the camera for, well, since my last film, 3 years. I haven't picked up a real camera in 3 years other than to shoot my YouTube videos. Because if I don't have something worth filming, then I'm not going to photograph it. I think a lot more indie directors should be doing that kind of a thing. Put the camera down for a little while, pick up a pen and paper, and get to work and figure out your voice, figure out what you have to say, figure out the curiosities that plague your mind and how you can bring them to life. And once you figure that out, you pick up the camera and you find a way to photograph it. And The Soothsayer, this story that I've been working on for so long, has had enough time to brew and simmer and marinate. I feel like there's really something special there, and now I feel comfortable picking the camera back up and making a film for it. Alright, and those are just a couple of my face features and face drawings. I think they turned out pretty okay. I am seeing a lot of progress on a week-to-week basis of my pen and ink sketches. Thanks for sitting around and listening to me ramble. A lot going on in my head. And I hope you enjoyed watching the sketch progress. If you liked the video, like the video, and maybe consider subscribing to my channel. I talk a lot about stories that I absolutely love, and I like to share them with you all. I'm also beginning to do a couple sketch videos here and there as well, so if you like this specifically, you'll see more of it on my channel over the time. So if you like this video specifically for the sketching, you'll be seeing more of it on my channel here and there. Anyway, I'll see you in the next video. Toodaloo. What's toodaloo? Bye.